Before this video starts, I'd really appreciate it if you guys could help me share this video around. It's been my biggest project since how Pokemon X, Y, and Z will end, and I feel like the predictions I made in this video could happen. So it would mean a lot to me if so many people could see this video and comment their thoughts too. Anyway, with that said, roll the intro. What's going on, guys? Entity here with a very video on Pokemon Sun and Moon. In this video I will be discussing who I believe Ash's companions will be during his travels in Alola and what kind of story we would expect. Shout out to Marauding Umbreon who came up with the idea of how the story can play out by showing me another theory on Sun and Moon Island Guardians and how it could be similar to the Diamond and Pearl series. That said, let's get right into the theory, starting with who Ash's companions could be in Alola. So as I said in my Will Ash Become Champion theory video, and yes, I know that I was completely wrong with the first possibilities, but anyways, at the end of the video I discussed that Mallow could be one of Ash's companions. Why, you may ask? Well, firstly, she was shown in the infamous Chinese leak showing what the starter evolutions were and much more. However, she was sitting next to Ash with a pot on a litter. Many thought these were fake, but a couple days after, Pokemon confirmed Mallow as a trial captain in a trailer, and then everyone started to believe these Chinese leaks were real, and I do too, which is why I believe she will travel with Ash to Alola. Of course, she will be the usual third companion, e.g. for Brock, for Silent, for Clement, who knows about battling and is a cook, and we clearly see from the Chinese leaks and her artwork that she likes cooking, so Ash has a cook now. Although she is female, she still fits in the slot. Moving on to the main companion, the female companion, e.g. Misty, May, Dawn, Iris and Serena. Now many people would think that because Ash already has a female companion that she would be the second companion, and no, she wouldn't, because of three reasons. One, she is older than the second companions we have gotten. Two, she is shown to be a cook. And 3, she is a trial captain, which is kind of similar to the gym leaders which we have seen the third companions being all the time. Sure, we had Misty and Iris, but they were 10 and she's older. Overall, from this current analysis, you can see that they could have 2 female companions, which would be interesting. I know many of you would argue that his second companion could be a boy, but really, no it couldn't, as Ash represents all the main protagonists from the games. Of course, Red, Ethan, Brandon, Lucas, Hilbert, Nate and Caleb. Anyway, moving on to the second companion. It would have to be a female protagonist from the games. This is because we already have a trial captain who is basically a gym leader, so the second companion can't really be a trial captain too. So that leaves this female protagonist of the Sun and Moon games. But she might not be the one. Serena could also be a possibility. This is because of 1, a more shipping, and 2, the female protagonist of the Sun and Moon games will be aiming to battle for trial captains, which is Ash's job in Alola, which I'll discuss more soon. So Serena could come back to do performances in Alola. I mean, in Hawaii, which Alola is based on, there is all kind of dancing, so performances could in fact be there too. You could also argue Serena is the most popular female companion Ash has had, which I agree, and that's why Pokemon brought her back, but you can't always be sure with that because we have seen how they played other stuff before. So you would think we have our companions there, Mallow and the female protagonist or Serena, but in fact we could have one more character I believe. This is because Ash would be traveling with 2 female characters and it would be interesting, but it couldn't really happen at the same time without there being a second boy, just like with the Chaos crew, Serena and Bonnie, Ash and Clement. So overall the 4th companion would be a boy, but he could be a kid as we have seen the 4th companion shown to be a kid twice. However, as I know some of you are wondering, no, I don't think the rival will be travelling with Ash. He's a rival and I just see him being Ash's rival with how it played out with Torino and Trevor in X and Y. Also, as I know many of you are also wondering, I don't think Lily will travel with Ash, as I mean there's already Mallow and possibly Serena, all female protagonists, and also I don't see her being the second companion. I still believe myself that Lily is the antagonist. I mean, look at that angry face. But if Lily will be joining Ash, then I guess it's okay. But it's basically another Serena as Lily doesn't like battling and she's the professor's assistant, so it'll be weird to see what role Pokemon would give her. But anyway, overall that's your companions and my opinions on ones who cannot be. However, to also back up my theory of there being a 4th companion, we have the story, and you may be wondering, what does the story have to do with there being a 4th companion? Well, as we see in Alola, there are 4 islands, and as we know from the Pokemon Tapu Koko, that Pokemon is a guardian of 1 island, so we would expect to see 4 more Pokemon being a guardian, and this plays very similar to the 3 legendary Pokemon who protect the Sinnoh Lakes, Mesprit, Azelf and Uxie, and as we saw in the Diamond and Pearl series, they represented 1 character, Mesprit with Dawn, Azelf with Ash, and Uxie with Brock. We represented them characters based on their personality. Dawn and Mesprit because Mesprit embodies emotion which Dawn shows the most of, and empathy which coordinators have. Ash and Azelf because Azelf embodies willpower which Ash has to become a Pokemon master. And finally Brock and Uxie because Uxie embodies knowledge which both of it and Brock has, and also manages to take Brock to become a Pokemon doctor. All of this could happen in a game, but of course with the Alola Guardians representing Ash, Mallow, Serena / female protagonist, and the 4th companion. And those theorists theorize that each island is based on what the Hawaiian god specializes in, which Tapu Koko is with the other what we assume 3 guardians. One island being war, another light / sun, intellect / learning, and finally the last island being underworld. Ash could be war because obviously he is a fighter. Serena, leaving the female protagonist out at the moment, would be light / sun because she came from Kalos, and of course at Kalos there is the sundial, or she could be learning as she learned to stay on a journey to gain more experience. Mallow could be either underworld or whichever Serena isn't, but I see Mallow being the one Serena isn't, and the 4th companion being underworld. Obviously the 4th companion wouldn't be emo or anything like that, just someone like Gary or Paul or even Alon, although I know all of you hate Alon, so you could say he is from the underworld. Anyway, back onto the topic. If Serena isn't in Alola, the female protagonist would most likely be learning as they would be starting their journey. Overall, with each one representing a character, this would mean it could play out very similar to the Diamond and Pearl saga, with the legendaries teaming up with Ash and Ko to take down possibly Team Skull, which is the major story, with of course Ash taking on the trials as that's the only thing he can really do in Alola, and Serena with performances, female protagonist with whatever Pokemon decide to do with her, and same goes for the 4th companion. Although I can assure you if there's no 4th companion, then Ash's rival would definitely represent the Underworld Guardian, and that confirms as well that I would get another badass rival like Gary, Paul, or Lon. So that's my take on how I feel like the story could go down in the anime. If you enjoyed this whole Sun and Moon anime theory, be sure to leave a like. It helps out a ton, and if you could, I would love it if you could share this video around with your thoughts, as it's my biggest project since how Pokemon XYZ will end. And overall, subscribe for more Pokemon content. See you later, and stay tuned.